In February 1601, armed royal guards stormed through London, searching for treasonous pamphlets. They did not target radical religious extremists or foreign spies. Instead, they hunted a playwright whose words were weaponized to overthrow the crown. William Shakespeare was not merely an entertainer. He was a master of political subversion. His theater held secrets that could ignite a kingdom in flames. During the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, speech was one of the most dangerous commodities in England. Her network of spy masters monitored every public gathering, searching for dissent. Playwrights who crossed the line faced imprisonment, torture, or execution. Yet beneath the poetic poetry and dramatic flair, Shakespeare embedded lethal critiques of royal authority right before the eyes of royal censors. The Globe Theatre stood on the south bank of the River Thames, outside the strict jurisdiction of London authorities. This muddy, lawless district hosted bear-baiting, brothels, and radical theatrical performances. Thousands of citizens gathered under the open sky, absorbing subversive messages that whispered of rebellion and corrupt monarchs. The stage was a weapon aimed directly at the throne. To perform any play, theater companies required approval from the master of the revels, the crown's chief censor. This official possessed absolute power to erase lines, ban entire acts, or order the arrest of authors. Shakespeare understood the censor's mind perfectly. He learned to camouflage dangerous contemporary political crises within historical tragedies set in distant, ancient kingdoms. By shifting his narratives to ancient Rome, medieval Scotland, or fictionalized Denmark, Shakespeare created an intricate code. Audiences instantly recognized that the tyrant on stage mirrored the real politicians governing their lives. A corrupt cardinal, a paranoid monarch, or a treacherous advisor represented living figures holding power in the Tudor court. The public understood every hidden meaning. The play Richard II proved to be Shakespeare's most perilous work. It depicted the overthrow and murder of a rightful English monarch, a topic explicitly banned from public debate. Queen Elizabeth recognized the threat instantly, famously declaring that she was Richard II. Showing a king losing the crown was considered an act of treason. In early 1601, the Earl of Essex plotted a violent military coup against the Queen. To whip the public into a revolutionary frenzy, Essex's co-conspirators bribed Shakespeare's acting company, the Lord Chamberlain's men. They paid 40 shillings, a massive sum at the time, to stage a special, urgent performance of Richard II on the eve of their rebellion. The conspirators believed the depiction of a monarch being deposed would inspire Londoners to join their march on Whitehall Palace. The performance took place before a packed, electrified audience. As the actors spoke of tyranny and rebellion, the crowd roared with emotion. The line between theatrical drama and active political rebellion had completely dissolved inside the Globe. The next morning, Essex led hundreds of armed men through the city streets, shouting calls for freedom. But the rebellion collapsed in chaos within hours. Royal troops crushed the uprising, and Essex was arrested alongside his key co-conspirators. The Crown immediately launched a ruthless investigation, tracing the violent movement directly back to Shakespeare's provocative play. Actors from Shakespeare's troupe were summoned before the Privy Council for intense interrogation. Many expected executions, as assisting traitors carried the death penalty. Yet surprisingly, the actors escaped without punishment. They successfully claimed they were merely businessmen paid to perform an old play, devoid of political intent. Shakespeare had built the ultimate wall of plausible deniability. Shakespeare's survival depended on a delicate balance of brilliant art and calculated silence. He knew how far he could push political boundaries without triggering lethal retaliation. While rival dramatists were imprisoned or murdered in tavern brawls, Shakespeare navigated the deadly currents of court politics. His survival allowed him to continue smuggling dangerous truths onto the stage. When King James I ascended the English throne in 1603, political paranoia reached new heights. The new king survived the infamous gunpowder plot of 1605, a failed Catholic conspiracy to blow up Parliament. Traumatized and hypervigilant, James instituted intense surveillance state measures across the nation, hunting down any hint of conspiracy or hidden treason. Shakespeare responded to this climate of terror by writing Macbeth. On the surface, the play honored King James's Scottish heritage and his obsession with witchcraft. But beneath the dark spectacle, Macbeth was a chilling psychological study of regicide and political corruption. It exposed how raw ambition and tyranny ultimately consume and destroy those who seize power illegally. In Macbeth, Shakespeare integrated themes from the king's own book on witch trials, demonology. By mirroring the monarch's personal fascinations, Shakespeare ensured royal favor while delivering a grim warning about the psychological decay of ruthless rulers. King James adopted the acting company as the king's men, granting them royal protection despite their dangerous political themes. In Hamlet, Shakespeare crafted an intricate critique of surveillance society. His depiction of Elsinore Castle presented Denmark as a high-tech prison where walls had ears and trusted friends acted as government informants. This dark atmosphere directly reflected Elizabethan London, where spymaster Sir Robert Cecil maintained a vast network of paid informants spying on everyday citizens. Informants sat disguised among the groundlings in the pit of the Globe Theatre, scribbling secret notes on audience reactions and unscripted dialogue. Shakespeare knew his performances were actively monitored by government agents. He weaponized double entendres, using complex metaphors that allowed the audience to understand the treasonous message, while leaving state inspectors powerless to prove illegal intent. In Julius Caesar, Shakespeare tackled the most explosive debate of the Renaissance. Is it ever justified to assassinate a tyrant? The play offered no simple moral answers. Brutus slays Caesar to preserve the Republic, only to unleash civil war and chaos. Shakespeare forced audiences to confront the terrifying reality that removing a dictator often leads to greater bloodshed. When grain shortages sparked widespread peasant riots across England, Shakespeare wrote Coriolanus. The play depicted class warfare, food hoarding, and popular rebellion against arrogant ruling elites. Censors attempted to suppress the text, recognizing that showing starving citizens rebelling against powerful politicians was far too dangerous during a period of real-world domestic famine and civil unrest. To prevent unauthorized and dangerous plays from circulating, the Crown controlled printing through the Stationers' Company. Yet pirate copies of Shakespeare's works were printed secretly in dark cellars and distributed underground. These illegal quartos contained controversial lines cut from official stage versions, keeping the most dangerous political critiques alive despite aggressive government censorship. Shakespeare's high-ranking patrons, such as the Earl of Southampton, were heavily involved in dangerous political factions. These noblemen provided financial backing, land, and protection from prosecution. In return, Shakespeare gave voice to their political philosophies through his drama. The theater served as the public propaganda wing for a network of aristocratic dissidents challenging royal absolutism. Operating in the shadows of power took a heavy psychological toll. Contemporary writers like Christopher Marlowe met violent, mysterious deaths, while Thomas Kyd was tortured on the rack. Shakespeare lived in constant awareness that a single slip of the pen could destroy his life. His plays reflect an obsession with madness, betrayal, paranoia, and the crushing weight of secret knowledge. Historians still debate Shakespeare's lost years, a mysterious period before his sudden rise in London. Some scholars believe he worked as a covert intelligence agent or schoolmaster in Catholic hiding spots. This background in secrecy would explain his deep mastery of espionage tactics, coded language, and the internal psychology of political conspirators that defined his greatest theatrical masterpieces. After his death in 1616, Shakespeare's surviving fellow actors gathered his remaining works into the First Folio. They restored many of the censored passages that royal authorities had attempted to erase forever. This monumental collection preserved the dangerous, subversive soul of his drama, ensuring that his biting critiques of tyranny would echo through future centuries across the world. William Shakespeare was far more than a literary genius. He was a brilliant political operative who transformed the stage into a battlefield for freedom of thought. Behind the poetic brilliance lay a dangerous dark art, one that challenged kings, exposed tyranny, and left behind a legacy that no empire could ever censor or destroy.